This is the Environmental Protection Commission, regular meeting Wednesday, June 1 of 2022, 7 PM. This is the first piece of business, new business. It's EPC 11-2022, 43 Birch Road, C-FAR, to construct residential additions, a detached garage, relocated drive, drainage, and other related features proximate to the wetlands and watercourses. The property lies along the west side of Birch Road, approximately 235 feet north of Point Woods Road, and is identified as map 11, lot number 9. Zone is R1, and the acreage is approximately 1.233 acres. Rick?
Mr. Chairman, as you'll note tonight in the agenda memo, that this is the start of the process. It's to acknowledge receipt, start the time clock. Staff has gone out to the site, has initiated its review, is developing a letter of additional information. I know one or more of you were probably there as well. I see that Harry's here this evening, and we'll just offer a very brief presentation, but the crux of the review will occur over the next several weeks.
Okay. I would encourage commission members, if they have questions or comments, to direct them to Harry, and maybe you have the answers, maybe you don't, but the next time, you can prepare for it.
Yep, absolutely. Good evening, Harry Rochelle, McCord Engineering, professional engineer. Represent the applicants. Subject property 43 Birch Road is on the west side of Birch Road. You see there's a water course running through the west side of the property from north to south, within the wetlands encompassing that water course. It's currently developed with a single-family residence, driveway that enters through here, gravel driveway currently, with a fairly rocky and vegetated slope that heads down to that water course. The pink portions of the house are to be removed now, and the proposed project is to add additions to the south side of the house and a detached garage to the north side of the house with a patio in between. To account for and also, the driveway will be reconstructed to be a circular driveway as opposed to where it's more of a square configuration now. For stormwater, we'll be taking roof leaders from the proposed garage in this section of the house, sending that over to an underground detention system over here consisting of Caltech 330s, and that will serve to provide a decrease in peak rate and volume of runoff from the property. There'll also be a driveway drain located here, capturing the majority of the driveway and half of this circle here. That'll all be routed to the same detention system. From the high point in the circle over here, there'll be a leak off where runoff will filter through the line down to the water course. There's a decrease in impervious area that goes to that lawn from the driveway currently, so less impervious area from the driveway going to the lawn down to the water course. As part of this garage going in, it is going over the existing sanitary lateral, so that will have to be slightly relocated and tied back in further downstream. Existing water service for the property now, that will remain intact. The additions are designed to work with existing grade, so very minimal grading around the additions here. The foundations will serve as retaining for that. Generator and HVAC units behind the garage. And when this portion of the house becomes removed here, they're going to sort of reorient the lawn steps. Just landscaping steps are just going to be relocated down to this existing patio that is to remain as such. And then stairs from the other portions of the addition also down to the same patio again, just lawn steps and boulders, nothing crazy there. Also a propane tank on the south side of the addition. We did deep soil tests for the stormwater system. We have found, luckily, sand and bank run gravel, so no issues there with infiltration. And then as far as within the upland review area, very minimal work, just the green line here, just portions of the addition. And as I said, all this existing rocky slopes are going to remain as is now. We have a silt fence down gradient of all proposed activity to protect the wetlands and watercourse during construction, as well as a anti-tracking pad for Birch Road. That pretty much summarizes everything we have going on. I'd be happy to answer any questions. We did receive Rick's comments today. Haven't had a chance to quite go over them too intensely yet, but we will certainly address them before the next meeting.
Good. Does any commission member have questions or comments for Harry? Bill, go ahead.
Sure. We happen to both be out there at the same time. We both commented the beautiful high crowned oak trees that are surrounding that spot. It's a very amazing spot with that backdrop of rock going down to the water course. And because it's been there a long time, it is fairly well vegetated going down.
Right.
But of concern would be, how you're trying to pick around some of those oaks. I don't know if you can, but they're just magnificent, huge high crowned in there. And any thought on how to work with that?
Unfortunately, we don't have the trees located.
Okay.
That was brought up to us today in Rick's letter. We have contacted the surveyors to get on that and locate them as soon as possible. And once we have the location of them, we'll have a better idea of where those additions and garage layout where the trees are. We'll try to save as many as possible.
Want to go around? Quick question. I see the propane tank. I'm looking for the compass. Is southeast on the lot? And the generator is northwest on the lot? How are you piping the propane to the generator?
It's a good question. The architect will be able to answer that next week. That was their preferred location. Or next meeting. Bill will be attending that one. That was their preferred location. I think it was mostly for filling purposes. They didn't want to drag any sort of piping across a new patio or, well, essentially just across a new patio. That was their concern. And it keeps it out of the upland review area where it is now.
So if the propane tank is out of the upland review area, would you use the same logic for the generator and the HVAC pads?
Very minimal disturbance for those as opposed to digging the generator in, and those just worked pretty well right behind the garage for screening purposes, where the propane tank won't be seen over there.
I'd be interested to know where the proposed trench is for the propane tank.
We could certainly have that for you next time, or before
And
the
maybe
next
like,
meeting.
rather than a proposed, this is like 90% where we're gonna wanna stick the propane tank.
Mhm.
That's all I got.
Can you point out our jurisdictional area on this?
Green line.
And is this an asphalt driveway that you're proposing here? I think right now you have a gravel driveway.
I considered it as asphalt for our stormwater calculations and everything. Another question that was brought up in Rick's letter that we're confirming with the architects, what the aesthetic view they're gonna want, but for drainage purposes, I considered it asphalt. Right now, it's gravel.
Thank you.
Jim?
No additional comments there.
Carolyn?
Couple quick questions. So the Coltex are expected to accept water from a portion of the expanded residence, the new detached garage, and a majority of the driveway. And the rest of the water will go down and out through on the splash pads. What percentage of the roof of the house, the structure, is not going to go into that underground detention system?
I don't have that number exactly. If I had to guess, there's probably about 20% of the existing house is going there along with the garage, but all of those roof leaders now go to surface, so we're conforming to those existing conditions and compensating for that with the new garage and capturing all the driveway that isn't captured now. The driveway tends to contain the majority of pollutants, where roof water is more considered clean water.
Okay.
And will also be filtered through the vegetated slope down to the wetlands.
Can I ask another question?
Of course. All I want.
Sorry. Also, it says the existing vegetated slope from the residence to the watercourse will remain undisturbed. So there's that area where it's sort of like a stone retaining wall. Will that remain as is? Will it just be cleaned up, or will they try to redo that, it's sort of cobbled together and just
Are you talking about the retaining wall just down of the patio, or the one that sort
the
of is
rounded.
the U?
Yes,
As far as we know, that's supposed to remain just as is. They're not, I'm sure they'll clean it up a little bit, I would think, but, no, as far as the wall, that's supposed to remain exactly as is.
okay, so they're not gonna rebuild it,
No,
okay.
no. No, none of those walls are intended to be rebuilt, just repositioning those stairs that walk down that slope.
Thank you.
You're entitled to another question.
No, I'm finished, thanks. I'll save some for Laura.
Yeah, I just had a similar question to Bill, so are you removing any trees or plants, and are you putting, do you have any plans to add any trees or plants at all?
We have contacted Bill Kenny, who did the wetland flagging, to see if he can get a planting plan together for us, which was also brought up by Rick. So that's, the goal is to get a planting plan, or just whatever his expert opinion is as an environmentalist, to what he thinks would best mitigate the disturbance based on this project. So we are contacting them and should have that by the next meeting.
Great.
As far as the trees, as I said, I'm not exactly sure. We're not gonna clear cut the property by any means. I think the majority of the area you're talking about is in this area. It was very highly vegetated and a lot of trees in there, but there are a couple in the front yard as well. But I think the intent is to just remove the ones that would directly impact the garage.
And on the other side as well?
The other side, this area is mostly open lawn over here.
Yeah, I think there's just a couple we were looking at.
Yeah, there's still some big oaks and shagbark
They're all-
hickories in there.
Yeah, they're all over.
Though it may be lawn below, but there's big trees that are canvassing over the whole top.
Thank you.
No problem.
Anybody else? Anything else?
One other question on that, you've got that riprap outlet coming off of the detention areas?
Yes.
So that's like, looks like an 8-foot drop from that point down to, so it's pretty steep. So if that overflows, goes through that riprap, is there a kind of a secondary to try to slow the water down so it doesn't rip out any vegetation?
Exactly, yeah, and that's just a high-level overflow pipe, so that'll only see water in extreme storms, I believe, 10-year or 25-year per our calculations. And that's exactly right, that riprap will serve as outlet protection for that water.
Okay, but if
Be
it's
discharged
that
from the
big and it
pipe.
goes through that, then it's gonna cascade down that rock face, I guess. And so
Right.
that's the only concern is that, if any vegetation there is now gonna be under, you get one of those big storms, it's gonna be under some pretty serious energy of water coming down there, I would think.
Yeah, that's the purpose of the riprap, is just to dissipate the energy of the runoff coming
Okay.
out of that pipe. And that's a high-level overflow, so it'll only be seeing, runoff that's not infiltrating into the ground. So it should be a pretty slow flow coming out of that pipe.
One last question. Do you really think that that's a practical location for your stockpile, based on where the construction is? Do you think maybe you'd want an alternate location?
No, I think that's pretty practical, because we'll be excavating for the detention system, and we don't want to locate it in the upland review area. So if they have to truck around the driveway a little bit more, I'd rather have it there than closer to the wetlands.
Why wouldn't you have an alternate location where, I'm trying to kind of make an easier suggestion. The southeast, where you have the 128-foot demarcation and square there.
That could potentially be another location, sort of the same distance away from.
You're gonna silt fence it, so, there's
Right.
no impact to the site, but what I'm getting at is, everybody comes to the commission and says, this is what we're gonna do. And more often than not, we go to the job site and we see a new stockpile, and sometimes the stockpile's not where it's supposed to be.
Okay. Yeah, if,
So I would suggest demarcating a second stockpile, and then also notating how you're going to protect it.
okay.
How about right in the middle of where the circle is?
Thank you.
Right there.
Yeah, well, just anywhere over
I
there.
think that would present an obstacle.
Okay, does anybody else have anything here? Okay, Harry, we'll see you in a month.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item of new business is EPC 12-2022 and 373 Brookside, T. Blackwell, to construct an in-ground pool, patio, equipment, and fence, reconstruct a garage, and implement other related activities proximate to the wetlands and watercourses, Mather's Pond. The property lies along the west side of Brookside Road, approximately 715 feet south of Stephen Mather Road, and is identified as map number 1, lot number 108. The zone is R2, and it is approximately 6.379 acres. Rick?
Chairman, like the last application, this is to mark the start of the review process. Staff has already been out to the site, is generating a list of additional information. And again, you recognize that one or more of the board members, commission members have gone out to the site. Mr. DeVesta is here to answer any initial questions, and maybe offer just a brief overview of what's being proposed.
Take it away. Okay, good evening, Doug DeVesta, professional engineer. As Eric mentioned, is at 373 Brookside Road on the west side, borders Mather's Pond and Mather's Meadows to the north of us, residential to the south of us. The house, the original house, consists of the garage. The main house here was built in 1959 and remodeled in 2010, according to the assessor's card. Bill Kenny Associates flagged the wetlands, which are basically along the pond, edge of the pond, comes up along towards the meadow, towards Mather's Meadow, and then there's a finger that comes into the site as well. That was done on October 1st, 2021. The property is accessed through a paved driveway, comes in, down, a little parking area in front of the house, and then into the garage. The proposal for tonight is twofold. One is we're looking to raise the existing garage and shed and reconstruct it in the same footprint and adding 2 feet to the front of the garage portion only into the driveway area. So that's one part of it. And the second part is to construct a new pool off the existing rear patio in the back there. So those are the two projects that we're applying for here. What you see in the red line is the upland review area from the wetlands and the pond. So a portion of the pool and the retaining wall and a portion of the existing shed is in that upland review area. We looked at the runoff for the site, so we're looking at collecting the runoff from the garage area, the existing patio, the pool area and the pool patio, bringing it into a detention system, handling the 2 to 50-year design storm with handling the 1 inch or the water quality volume for the impervious areas. Matt Popp is also involved in this project. He's one who designed and laid out the pool relative to what the client is asking for on that. We are in the process of doing a preliminary planting plan for this project. That's probably one of your questions, probably.
You know it's by now, Doug.
Yeah, I know. It's been a few months, but I know it already. So we're already in the process of working on sorry, take off your, take that off. So we're in the process of working on that right now. So I do have a preliminary layout of it right now. I can quickly, so we do have a planting plan. So I'm not throwing the ball at you, but here's the planting plan we're proposing. But once we get that finalized with the client at the next meeting, we will go through that. Have Matt Pop here as well to go through all that. Again, just the stormwater is handling the 2 to 50-year storm with a water quality volume. We also had to do a code compliant septic area, which would be located basically where the existing system is now along Brookside Road. Soil testing was done for the drainage and for the septic. I talked to Mindy today. She hadn't had a chance to review it yet, but that will be done prior to the next meeting, which I don't see an issue with that. It doesn't have to be installed. It's just a code complying area to demonstrate that we do have area on the site for a new system if it need to be in the future. That is really it. Just in terms of, I guess, maybe construction purposes, you're probably asking that, how are we going to get back to that pool area? and without going into the wetlands area. So my thought was raise the garage, utilize the garage area, come in off the driveway through the garage area, do the excavation, taking the excess material off-site through that area, then they can start the construction of the garage, and then, you know, shooting a gunite, they can probably just, I think it's gonna be a gunite pool, they can probably just bring the hoses around and do it that way. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, because if we went around the house this way, more disturbance, the septic tank is plastic. So if they go off it, that's the end of that tank. Coming on the north side, we're getting very close to the wetlands, existing wall area. It's not really even topography in that area, so very difficult to get around it. So that's kind of what my thought is, to have the construction go through the existing garage area to get the heavy equipment through there and the material out. So that's really it. Next meeting, we'll provide you with Matt Pop here, go over a little more detail with the planning plan, any other questions you may have at that point, and then address Rick's comments. I'm sure they'll be coming.
Bill?
Should start from somebody else's side. I feel like
Okay.
taking everybody's.
Lauren, hey.
I don't have any questions at this time.
Great, thank you.
I apologize if it was in here and I didn't see it, but I was wondering, what is the existing stormwater management system?
There probably is none.
There is none.
I should say there isn't any. The drainage right now, the roof drains all go into the ground. Where they go, we don't know.
And
So-
then my second question is, the subsurface detention system will collect the runoff from the pool patio, et cetera, and the outlet flow will be metered out through various outlet control release structures. So why metered out as opposed to, usually it's designed to infiltrate into the underlying soils? Is it because the water table is high there?
No, that's hydrology-wise, we do take exfiltration into consideration during our hydrologic calculations. To metering it out, you're allowing it to send out small amounts of water at a certain rate, so you're not increasing the flow. So what's happening as the storm intensifies, it builds up, allows the water to go out at a certain rate, and then as it goes through it, it allows the water to be metered out at the same rate as the pre-development conditions.
Okay.
So that's just a term that we use, of metering it out, it allows it to control.
Okay.
It controls the flow, so it doesn't increase the flows going
Okay.
out.
So it was, okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I just butt in just for 1 second?
course.
I have a question. I also looked at some file research. There's a rain garden that's there that was installed as part of the construction that is to the, I think it's the west. So that's part of the existing system. The other thing that I found, and I'm trying to provide you copies of it, I believe that there is a geothermal system, and portions of it may conflict with some of the areas where the pool
Okay, yeah, I
are
did not-
proposed.
did not-
And actually, it's very interesting, it was approved by the commission, and it looked like it goes out into the pond, they're using the heat sink of the pond to, as part of the, so
How long, when was that done?
2009.
Oh, 2009 was approved, 2010 built, as you said.
Yeah, so I'm providing you, I didn't have any as-built drawings, but I was trying to provide you with at least the design drawings to help you locate those things.
Because the health department didn't have anything on the geothermal wells either, because they would most likely have to get that approval from the health department too, so. Because the existing well is out almost right in the wetlands area here, and that's the only thing I can find on record down there, but I didn't think about checking your.
But it comes in
checking
the
files.
back, and then if there's a couple of plastic caps that stick out of the ground closer to the pond. And so I think that's probably it.
Yeah, I saw some 4-inch pipes, or PVC grates on the top
Yep.
there, so, okay, thanks. We'll look into that and then obviously modify accordingly.
Sure.
Because my client never mentioned anything about having geothermal, so I was like, okay.
Jim?
We approved that geothermal?
It was approved in 2009. You weren't around.
Maybe before my time.
It was
And I
before
was on
that.
that project either, so I would have known.
No, it was
why.
2009, he said 2000,
Yeah.
but, you know, let's
Yeah.
put it
Because I
this way.
didn't remember.
We
I was a little
we
worried.
probably all had, we all probably had our natural hair color and hair.
You weren't chairman there, were you, Eric, at the time? 2010, I didn't think
No, that was
so.
before my time.
Yeah.
That was about a year before my time.
No other questions.
No, I would have remembered the geothermal
Yeah.
because that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I would have too, that's why I was scratching my head. I'm good.
Oh, when you raise the garage, you're not putting anything underneath, so it's just gonna be on a slab?
Just slab, it's a slab on grade,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
I was
Peter?
gonna ask two questions. One is, when you raise the garage, how much fill are you gonna bring in to meet the driveway?
None.
So
It's
you're going up 2 feet.
existing, whatever the grade of the, whatever the slab of the driveway is right now, that's what's gonna stay.
I thought you were raising the garage 2 feet.
Expanding it out,
Got it.
expanding it out into the driveway.
Right.
What they're doing is they're raising it, R-A-Z-E.
R-A-Z-E.
Right, not that raise, not the other raise, so.
Good.
Not elevate.
Not elevate, not to bring
Right,
up.
right, they're actually expanding it so they can have a space above the garage for, living space above the garage.
And
That's
what's
what
the condition of the septic system? Is that original to the building at this point? Because that's very close to the upland review area.
I think it was installed, I have to look it up, it's not that old, no. But again, that's just.
Next time we find out.
Yeah.
And then also the gallon pump within the upland review area that seems to be connected to the septic system. Could you elaborate on the pump? What kind of technology is allowing the septic to discharge?
So what you've got is you got two tanks. You got the septic tank,
Yep,
which all the waste in the house goes into that. That's your primary settling chamber. It allows all the solids to settle down and all the scum and oil greases flow to the surface. What's in between is called effluent, the gray water.
yep,
That overflows into a pump chamber. And that pump chamber has a pump in it. It's got floats in it. So it's got a high overflow, a high level, low level, and an on-off switch. So then once it reaches a certain elevation, that pump will kick on, pump up to a baffled distribution box, and then it'll sit idle until it gets filled up again, and then gets pumped up again. If the alarm does fail, if for whatever reason the pump fails, there's an alarm on it that will go up,
Yeah.
kick on, an alarm in the house, and then they call service, have it serviced.
okay. Yeah, so I guess my question would be just the general condition of it and.
Yeah, we will look at it, looks like it's functioning properly. We
Right.
had Paladino Septic look at it while I was out there doing soil testing, and it is functioning. They kicked it on while I was there, and it is functioning, so.
Thank you.
Michael?
Have you guys considered any alternate location of the pool?
They did. We thought of moving it to the south, but the client wants to keep this the living room area and the patio and the porch area. They want to keep that view towards the pond unobstructed. So that's one reason why we moved it over to that side there. And also wanted to utilize the existing patio as part of the pool patio for the existing patio for part of the pool area as well.
What would you say the approximate distance from the northwest corner of the pool to the wetland is?
At about 35 feet to the pool, edge of pool, to the water.
Where, am I missing it? Where's the proposed pool equipment located?
Behind the shed.
Ah, that's why. Okay. And regarding an alternate location is where you have the new Coltex and the soil stockpile, is that not a good location?
For the
So to
for the pool?
Yeah, correct.
I just explained to you that they wanted to keep that unobstructed view to the pond and to, versus having a pool here and now looking over the pool versus the pond. That's why they bought the house, really, to have a nice view of the pond instead of looking at the pool.
Because the pool's going to obstruct the view of the pond?
Correct.
How's the pool going to obstruct the view of the
Well, you look out, you're still gonna be able to see the pool versus overlooking the lawn area and looking out towards the pond.
How do the soils perform there?
Not good.
Can you elaborate?
Sure. I have a soil testing on the next page here. That was number, dark brown silty loam to 12 to 30, gray mild hard pan, groundwater 22, modeling at 12. So it's not the best soil in the world, but I still can maintain 12 inches above it. I put the system at grade and it's filling around it.
Those are all my questions.
Pardon me?
Those are all my questions.
I went out there, like most of us probably did. It's a quality wetland off the both sides, I guess it would be north and south, so it's nice that there's plenty of vegetation around those. I was hoping though, my particular, I always bring this concern up, the yard goes directly into the pond. Right now, there's a big algae bloom going on in that pond, so their fertilizer along with everybody else's is creating that. So there is vegetation you see along that edge, but it's actually below the line where the lawn would drop down in, and so it's actually on the shoreline, I would call it. So it'd be nice when you do your planning, if it's possible, you could have that berm go along that area, low berm, so they won't lose their view across that, but it would catch some of that fertilizer, which is gonna definitely come down from the pitch they have up ground there, along that whole piece there. That would be great. The only other small item is over in near the treehouse. The guys cutting the lawn are dumping all their grass clippings in there, you know, typical. They can't haul it away for an extra $10, but they dump it in there, so maybe you could have them talk to their people about that. It's a minor thing, but it's a great piece of land, and if they can keep that, do a little of that work, that'd be great. That's all I have.
That's it.
That's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, see you in a month. Next piece is old business. Don't go too far. EBC 06-2022, 81 Inwood Road. JBL Corporation to construct a new single-family dwelling, drive, drainage, and related features proximate to wetlands and watercourses. The property lies along the west side of Inwood Road, approximately 1,275 feet north of Horseshoe Road, and is identified as map 3, lot 9. The zone is R2, and this piece of property is approximately 2.758 acres. Rick?
Mr. Chairman, the application was extensively discussed at last month's meeting. And after a presentation, the commission came up with just a handful of items to focus on in advance of this month's meeting and a detailed review, and it had to do with the verification of the drainage mitigation plan. It was to evaluate the planting plan that has been proposed, that was proposed, and to add some other features, demarcation feature in the area of the planting plan and the demarcation feature related to an area of a restored driveway. Also to more clearly define the limits of stone walls that would be removed, to come up with, or at least place notes on the plan providing for the cleaning of the drainage structures under the driveway that currently exist on the driveway, and some associated debris removal in the regulated areas. The applicant has gone back and has amended his plans, has amended the planting plan, and has seemed to address the issues that were raised at last month's meeting with DPW endorsing the drainage plan, confirming the impact analysis and the design that was presented. Project engineer has addressed the water quality elements that had been outlined, including the temporary and permanent erosion controls, the more permanent structures utilizing infiltration to cool and treat storm water, new underground propane tank in lieu of fuel oil. Health Department has endorsed the septic systems, and again, the mitigation plan has been extensively redefined to more aptly address the areas that's being restored. There are notes on the appropriate notes have been added to the plan that the commission had asked for, and Mr. DeVesta is here to answer any further questions you may have had about this particular application. And okay, I was going to go to 85. I was thinking of 85.
No,
81. That's
81.
separate.
81.
Yes, that's the next one.
81. Come on, Bill, you're up. There's
No,
a little open.
Unless you're you talking first?
There's the.
Show me first. Thanks.
There's the mitigation plan, so that's what we modified it up. Jim McManus, the soil scientist, environmentalist, he prepared the plan with the demarcation lines. Okay, for the record, Doug DeVesta. We have the demarcation line, the boulders. You see the key here. We show a 10-foot strip of a native, what do we call it? native seed mix, a New England wildlife and conservation mix mixed in with the native plants in that area. As Rick mentioned, this area in the orange area is approximate location where all that debris, tree, logs and brush has been piled out, but be removed out of there. So that's that area right there. We do have a note that the culvert underneath the driveway is to be, cleaned out, make sure it flows freely. There was one other note down here. About hay bales in there, and about the stone wall. I think one of the commission members asked about the stone wall. We have a note on here. We're going to save 35 feet of the stone wall from the edge of the common driveway, 35 feet in there, and the rest will be removed out because a portion of it is being removed because of the proposed driveway. Those are really the questions. Then Rick basically went through all those questions as well. Just wanted to show the plan, so you can see the plan, what we did there.
Okay. I'll open it up to,
Yeah, I think you took into account what I remember that we.
Yes,
wanted.
yes.
So, looks good to me.
yep.
I have no questions.
No questions.
Agree with Bill and our fellow commissioners.
Anything, Carolyn?
No, just I'm really happy to see that some, where the asphalt driveway is being removed, that it's being restored with some native plantings with strong conservation values. Hate to see the big trees removed, and I wish there was an area to put in some more, important type trees, but, glad to see that there are some plantings
Good.
being installed.
Okay, Rick, you'll write up, good. Thank you, Lon.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along here, EPC 07-2022, 85 Inwood Road, JBL Corporation, withdrawal of permit application to construct a new single-family dwelling, drive drainage, and related features proximate to the wetlands and watercourses. The property lies along the west side of Inwood Road, approximately 1,475 feet north of Horseshoe Road, and is identified as map number 3, lot number 10. The zone is R2, and it's approximately 2.2 acres. So that's being withdrawn for the record. Okay, the next one, I don't think we need to do anything that, right? Rick?
There's nothing.
Withdrawn?
Thanks.
Okay, the next one is EPC 08-2022, 89 Old Kings Highway South, F. Yang and M. Manza. Withdrawal of permit application to construct a certain replacement storm drainage improvements in and within close proximity to the wetlands and watercourses. The property lies along the south side of Old Kings Highway South, approximately 325 feet east of Waring Lane, and is identified as map 63, lot 79, and the zone is R1/2, and is approximately 0.937 acres. So that is withdrawn also. The next we get to is approval of minutes. It's a special meeting, continued public hearing of April 20th, 2022. I believe that's been distributed to all the commissioners. Were there any questions or comments for anybody? For Rick? No?
I had forwarded comments to Rick.
They've been incorporated.
This is a couple of weeks ago now.
Yep, they were incorporated.
Yeah, we're incorporated. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Jim Millard, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move to make a motion to approve the minutes of April 20, which was for a special meeting and a continued public hearing.
Peter, can I have a second?
Second that motion?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
One abstention. Michael Urban. So the next is approval of minutes of the regular meeting of May 4, 2022. You forwarded your question, you forwarded your comments?
They came in the same email
Fine.
to all of the commission members, and yes, I whatever comments I found,
Yep,
I'm sure
changes were
Rick has
incorporated.
incorporated them.
Good. Anybody have anything else that they, okay. Jim, may I have a motion to approve?
I'm pleased to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the regular meeting of May 4, 2022.
Second the motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of May 4th, 2022.
Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Great. 6 and one abstention, Michael Urban. There's no agent approvals, there's no other business, or there is other business here. EPC 2021, 67 Deepwood Road, D Ward and W Ward. Modification of EPC permit 2021 to allow an alternate layout of a pool fence, shed, propane tank, and other related features. Activities are associated with a prior EPC permit that allowed construction of a residential addition, in-ground pool, fence, equipment, and other related facilities within close proximity to wetlands and watercourses. The property lies within the east side of Deepwood, approximately 385 feet south of Hickory Road, and is identified as map number 26, lot number 25. The zone is R1, and this is approximately 0.7929 acres. Rick, tell us what's going on.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant proposes a modification of the existing permit. It was a prior permit that was approved by the commission for a pool and some related features, an addition, about a year ago. The current proposal seeks an alternative location for the pool fence. There was a relocated shed that was along one side of the home and now is expected to be placed on the other side of the home. A relocation of, or reconfiguration of a propane tank that had been proposed. And again, the fence, more aptly realigned with the property boundary and the lawn and other related spaces. The applicant has provided a summary. It engages about another 190 square feet of the upland review area. The modifications will not result, as confirmed by the project engineer, any negative impacts on drainage or the adjoining properties, will not impede existing drainage patterns, and will not impede the pretty extensive list of mitigation plantings that had been proposed under the prior permit. Also, the pool has been diminished in size.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's an overall decrease in impervious of approximately 119 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
Brian McMahon is here this evening in case you have any questions. Also, this afternoon, at the request of Mr. Wright, I sent to you the original, by email, the plan that was approved at the time of building permit in December of this year, just so if need be, you can do a more thorough comparison of what was done. But also in your packages, Rennis and has provided an exhibit that shows the differences in the fence and the differences in the layout. But again, Brian is here this evening, and the owner's here this evening, if you have any additional questions.
Brian?
Good evening. Brian McMahon, licensed professional engineer with Redness and Mead. On behalf of David and Wendy Ward, I'm here with Wendy Ward. The project is well under construction, and I think Rick summarized it very well. I agree with his conclusions in his staff report, and I'm just happy to try and answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Lauren?
Can you come back to me?
Sure. Carolyn?
I don't have any questions. I would just say that the fact that there are no additional trees being removed and the fact that the engineer represents that the fence allows for the free flow of surface waters. I know it's 190 extra square feet within the upland review area, but given those things, that there's free flow of water and no extra trees.
There's no significant impact to the long term.
Right, yeah, I don't really have a problem with it.
Jim?
I have no problem with it as well, Mr. Chairman. I do recall this application only 13 months ago, but for good form, Rick, I only just picked up on this. I should have seen it when I was looking at this package the other day. If you'll look in page 2, paragraph 2 of the existing conditional approval that is dated May 5, 2021, it calls for EPC permit number 2020. It's actually 2021.
That was in the original approval?
Yes, it's dated May 5, 2021, the
Yep.
conditional approval. This application is about
Oh, yeah,
2020,
right.
number
2021.
20-2021,
Correct.
but there's a typo there.
Typo, right.
So we have an opportunity to clean that up.
Right.
Any other typo?
Well,
Give 'em
heading at
time.
the top of the page, on the right, there's a little, indentation issue. Rick will take care of all of us with his good help there.
Peter?
Mr. McMahon, can you just elaborate on the purpose of moving the fence, just as what you're trying to accomplish, and also the construction of the fence, just in a little more detail?
Well, I think once construction was underway, I think the owners realized that there's a more logical position for the fence. What it does is it brings it out. This green line here is where it was originally approved last year, which brings it to the property boundaries, in line with the property boundaries.
Yeah.
And eliminates any confusion or potential for legal conflicts in the future.
I understand.
And likewise, in this area here, it brings it the extensive plantings that Rick was referring to here
Yep.
are restoring an area of wetland that hadn't been maintained as lawn by a prior owner of the property, and it brings the fence in line with that and serves as a, I think, a good demarcation line of the established lawn already and what will be a restored mitigated lawn area in the wetlands.
I understand. And just the difference that's on this border here, that in feet, are we talking,
Along the borderlines?
yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's approximately 8 feet or so.
Okay,
No, between the fence and the property line?
The old one.
The old one?
the old one.
Right here, between here and here.
Yes.
Between there is 8 feet?
Correct, approximately.
Okay, okay, but, okay.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. My vision's not so great.
Do you want me to bring it up?
No, which line is the new proposed?
The new proposed is this blue line which runs along the property boundary here and down and in. Part of the reasoning too was to tie it in different location, in a more forward location.
You see a
into the
corner of
side.
the house and you want to see the fence
Right.
come off the corner rather than
Exactly.
whatever that reveal might be. Yeah, get that.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, on the map, can you point out where the setback, the wetland setback is?
I don't have it on this map.
Can you, just for a visual reference?
Yeah, so it's roughly right in here. It's heavily encumbered by upland review area off, this is the limit of the wetlands here and here. So the entire developed site is heavily encumbered by upland review area already.
But the proposed, it looks like a baseball diamond, a baseball plate. But
Whole plate, it looks like.
yeah, exactly.
It's
But to the north is not encumbered by the wetland, the setback, is it?
Well, the setback comes in here and here, so this area here is not encumbered by the setback, but it is here and here.
And my last question is, the abutting neighbors.
Yes.
Yes, and similarly on the other side, correct. You had mentioned that you wanted to demarcate the property with the fence. More acutely demarcate the property.
Well, I don't want
with
to
the
speak
fence.
for, I don't want to speak for Wendy, and she'll jump in if I'm misstating it, but I think they came to the conclusion that it didn't make sense to create a space between the fence and the property line that might create legal confusion in the future.
So my question would be is how are you going to maintain the fence if you don't have land to access the exterior of the fence?
Well, I think fences are constructed on property lines all the time. I mean, I think in essence, it will be just inboard of the property line.
So for the record, I'm mentioning this to point this out to the applicant because it's easy to distinguish what your property is if you have a survey and you put your fence, let's say, 3 feet from the property line. It's certainly the applicant's prerogative to put the fence within the boundaries of their land. I like to point out to folks who don't necessarily think about it is, hey, I gotta power wash the fence, I gotta paint it, I gotta maintain it.
Sure.
Once I remove the access to the other side, you can no longer maintain it. So I was just asking, what's the reason for putting the fence on the property line?
Sure.
So, yes.
Excuse me, please come here, you have to state your name and your address in order to, because we're on the record here, so.
Hi, Wendy Ward, 67 Deepwood Road, I'm the owner. Well, it's a weird property line, as you can see. It looks like the, point goes there, and the way the land and trees go, because we're taking pool here, right, and this isn't wetlands, we're gonna push back and make some lawn. This property, we're actually gonna have a fence opening on that side. So the kids can play back and forth because they're really good friends. So we will have access and we have a great relationship with them. This property, we have a dog we need to maintain. So there isn't gonna be a fence opening on that side. It's a wire mesh fence, so there shouldn't be a lot of maintaining of it. And again, it's, the water will flow through and, you can see the wetlands go that way and the wetlands go that way. So we're just looking, I've lived in Darien for 45 of my 47 years and always had a fence on the property line.
Great. Okay, thank you.
As long as you're still standing there, you said you're going to make some more lawn?
Well, only, you know what I mean. Only where there's ability to do that with no wetlands.
Well, you're still in the 50-foot zone there, so we'd rather not, which is, you're still in our 50-foot area that we're covering, so we really don't like lawn going right up to the wetlands.
So let me be clear, there's only so much lawn you can actually make because there are a lot of trees. So, you're talking about going up to the level of the trees. We can't put in dirt, we can't raise we can't do anything, but we can get rid of the really invasive things like poison ivy and pricker bushes that are just really unpleasant to be around.
No, I understand, but I think we need to be definitive exactly where this lawn is going to be on plan. And also on this plan, this needs to be updated where we have that 50-foot zone marked on the plan. It's not. And that needs to be on there because this is
So your
going
engineer can do
forward
that, yeah.
and we need this document
So
correct.
the limit of the flagged wetlands is on this side. The limit of the flagged wetlands is on this side.
Right.
So you can see where the fence is right, basically in the front on the limit of the flagged wetlands. And you look at this big beechwood tree right here is from there over is the limit of the flagged wetlands.
So for the record, is that your amended plan?
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll have to decide whether it's important enough to make sure we have our 50-foot setback on that amended plan. which
Well,
is-
also, she said that she was gonna take away, poison ivy, which nobody wants.
We're highly allergic to it, my husband and I. It's kind of a nightmare. We can't walk out into the lawn without getting poison ivy.
So I'm,
Yeah,
from our perspective, we're happy you're doing that, okay? We're happy you're doing it, and the other invasives, we're very happy you're doing that. Okay, so that we applaud, okay? The question is, what's gonna go in its place?
So there are already boulders back there. The boulders are gonna stay, and there's already trees back there. The trees are gonna stay. We're not taking out anything. We're just getting rid of dirt and weeds. When you came back there, it's literally dirt and weeds.
Right. I think all I'm trying to establish is whether you leave next year or not, will that lawn keep creeping back? And if we don't mark it where we really believe that lawn
I
should be.
totally understand, sir. That makes complete sense. If you were there, you saw
Right.
there's a fairly real tree line. So I don't know how much grass we could grow within the tree line. And this property line, like you can see, tree. It's the edge of lawn that's already marked is. I don't know that we could even go much beyond that with actual grass because of the tree lines and the canopy that's there. There's a deep canopy. We've actually even planted 5 evergreens back there, and you can see them now in the line of where they'd be right in front of the fence. And then all of the plants that were removed, even though they're ornamental, from where we were taking out here, there was a massive landscaping project done. We saved them all, and they've all been replanted on the property, including the really big trees.
All right, well, I'll get off the subject, but what we've had in the past, people put a pool in, they lose some of their lawn from a pool, and now they think they need more lawn. That goes into our jurisdiction, and we're trying to put as much stop to that as we can. So
I
that's
totally
why I kind of like to
understand
quantify where we're
I
stopping.
think she got it.
Okay,
No.
the only other item I have is there's a big oak tree there, and it has not been protected as of yet, even though you're getting fairly close, so I'm not sure when you're gonna,
Which oak tree?
it says tree protector, right? There's a big oak tree off there?
This one?
Yeah, and there's no
There's still a
protection.
fence all the way around it.
There is fence around that one?
Yeah,
Is there
there's still
another
a
one
fence
near
all the
there?
way around it.
Is there another one that closer to the pool that's gonna come down?
Nope.
Okay, then I'm mistaken. Okay, that's all I got.
Great. Anybody else have anything? We were gonna come back to you, Lauren?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
you all
just,
set?
just to be clear on his point, the part that's under construction right now, that part's going to be, there's gonna be replantings there. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right, okay, so the relocated shed that the previous owners have actually in the wetlands is coming completely out, and the planting plan goes right down this line. It'll go right nicely in here. We actually already planted the boulders that we were supposed to have. Had to get them from another property, because we didn't actually dig up boulders. But, so the boulders are there. You should have a picture of them from being there, and, the planting will go right in there where the shed has been removed.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I'm good.
Yeah, so visually you would see the wetlands would be sort of very restored and very specific, and then we'd have our fence and we'll be able to care for whatever needs to be cared for on the property line. It just makes more sense rather than having a big strip of grass in between.
Great. Anybody, Lauren, you all set?
I'm good. I'm good with all the trade-offs on.
Good.
on this thing.
Good. Anybody else have anything? Questions or comments?
So
Yes.
do we want to have them just put on the 50-foot setback and then do a limit of lawn and landscape on the plan, just to document it?
Yep.
Okay, we'll do that.
And so you'll write it up and we'll approve.
Well, no, this is just a modification. I mean, we can just do it as a condition.
Okay, so you can write up okay, so
I
we
would
should
just
vote
do
on
an
it right
approval
now.
letter and say a condition of the board's approval is redraft the plan that's for the record that show the
Okay.
50-foot upland review area and a defined limit of lawn and landscape.
Do you want approval of this now, or should we wait?
No, we should do it now.
Okay. Okay. Jim, I need a motion to approve the proposed additional condition to EPC 2020-21. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm pleased to make a motion to approve a modification to the existing conditional approval for EPC application number 20-2021, as discussed.
Peter,
I'll
can I
second
second?
that motion.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
job.
you. Thank you all.
Okay, and now,
Hey, Rick, that's the one, in case you... Yep. Thank you.
I don't think there's any other business here that anybody wants to talk about, so we'll adjourn. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I just have a question.
Of course.
For whoever. So when I was out at the, through the Brookside property, today, I was talking to the owner, and he wanted to know if he should come to these meetings. Is that something that we encourage, or is that something that we say, you know, he had someone representing him as well here, so I said, you know, he didn't need to, but he's more than welcome to. Is that
Yes.
That's
correct?
a good answer.
That's,
Okay, good.
that's, I couldn't do it
Good to know.
better.
Okay, perfect. That's all I
Okay,
wanted
so,
to
you
know.
know, hey, as a person, I love people to get involved in town government. I encourage people to come here and make their voice, because nobody can speak for you better than you. Okay, you know, Doug is extremely competent in his job, he knows what he's doing, but as we just saw, the owner could add a lot, and it certainly adds a lot more credibility when I hear an owner says, I'm gonna do this, as opposed to someone else, to the engineer representing her. So there's an element of credibility when someone talks about their own property. So that's me, okay? Everybody else can make their own judgments for that. So, you know, I encourage people to attend. Do they have to? No. Okay, some people are, you know, camera shy, don't want, you know, just don't want to get involved. Hey, that's their prerogative. That's why they have, you know, somebody representing them. Okay, there's, you know, Rick makes sure that there's a letter on file that says Doug DeVesta is officially representing me in this application. So, but, you know, as you've seen me in public hearings and things like this, I want the public to contribute. I would like people to come up and speak their mind, because I think we as a commission come to better conclusions. Okay, and the neighbors have always something very interesting to contribute, something that, you know, as good as I think we are as a group, they add something extra. So if people feel they want to come, hey, you know, see your town government in action. So, is that fair, Rick?
Yep.
Yep. No, so,
Absolutely.
anyway, okay. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn the regular meeting of the Environmental Protection Commission for this Wednesday, June 1.
Second the motion to adjourn the meeting June 1.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Channel 79, we're off the air.